Hi guys, today I'm really excited to share an app with you called Explain Edu. It is a interactive video screen recording app. I use it to make video lessons. It lets you integrate your Google Drive files, pictures. You can write on it with your hand, like handwriting. It's one of my favorites. I use it all the time in the regular classroom and during this pandemic online learning time. I think it's a great tool, and I'm super excited to share it with you. Okay, so this is what the app looks like. That white one that says Explain EDU. When I click it to start a new project, I click New. And then you have some options. You have blank canvas, which just gives you like a blank whiteboard. You can have a template, so if you want a Venn diagram, or for files, there's options and you can upload from Google Drive. That's the one I use like 99% of the time. I will go over how to do that one in a second. And then if you click that blank one, I have mine on night mode, so it gives me a blackboard instead of a whiteboard, but that's just your personal setting. So this is how you start a new project, and then I will show you how to name it and save it. So now that we have made a project, I can name it. So if I do that drop down box, right at the top, underneath project name is where you put the name. You can backspace and edit the name, or you can delete the whole thing and start a new name, okay, whatever you need. And then right below it is the quick save button, and that's the one I use all the time. So I just do quick save, saved everything I've done so far. And then you also have an auto save option. I'm just picking a pointer to show you. So those three buttons is an auto save. I'm going to go to settings, and you can go through all the settings. There's a ton. That is where I do auto save. And so anytime you back out of the project into your Explain EDU library, it saves it for you. I always quick save every time just to double check and be safe. So now that I've made my project and I've saved it and named it, I'm going to add a file. So I go up there on the top right, and then I click the wrong one first. I'm going to go back and I'm going to click File, and I have linked it to my Google Drive. So I'm going to click it, I'm going to find the folder I want, and it's taking a long time to load today. So I'm just going to go back. I probably won't upload the whole thing, the file. I'll show you in a second. It's loading, it's loading. Okay, so I click the one I want, and I click down here on task cards. Right, so this one, and you can see in that top corner of the little, what are those called? Like little picture things. The picture of the file, had a circle, and then I clicked import. Okay, you can also add a picture. So last week in math, I drew a picture of a basketball court. I'm trying to find it. So I go to that plus button again, I go to existing pictures and videos, I find the picture I want, and then it lets you have some editing. You can rotate it if it's the wrong way, you can crop it, so I'm drawing a box, and then I'm going to expand that box to fit the picture, and I can crop out parts I don't want, and then I can just take my fingers and pinch my fingers together on the screen and make it smaller so it fits. Okay, if you want students to see what you're doing, here's a pointer section. There's a bunch of different ones, so that way if you're on the screen with your finger, they can't see that unless you have a pointer. Otherwise it just shows up as nothing. Then for recording, I go down here, I click the record button. It'll record what you're saying if there's a video playing, and it also will record what you're writing at the same time. And when I'm done, I click stop, and then if I want to edit it, I click the button next to it, and I can scroll to the part I want to edit. And let's say like I just messed up this whole thing, or I said I want to say it in a different way, I can just click that delete button, and then it deletes everything from that point on, and then that's making a presentation. Okay, so now that we have our files in, you can write on them. So here's how you write. So over on the side, I have all my options. I'm going to click that kind of pencil looking button, and that first one is the pen. That is the one I always use. I don't really like the pencil, but you can write with it. Make me a little smaller so you can see it all. Okay. Then the next one is the pencil. You can choose the different thickness of the lead. Those are a little harder to see, especially if you're using it on your projector. They don't always show up as well. But you can use pencil. You can change the size. So if I click that dot above all of them, I can make it littler. If I click it again, I click the biggest one, and I go back to the pen. And then you can make it real big, and there's sizes in between. Kind of up to you and your preference of which one you use. I don't have a specific recommendation. Okay, and then you can also change the color if you want to emphasize something. So if I click that pen again, on the bottom are the color options, and you can change them. So I'm just showing you them, and then so if I double click it, so I click it once, then I click it again, I can change the color. So there's some pre-filled colors, and then if I click that plus at the top, I can choose a custom color from the wheel. There you go, there's green. You can highlight, so if you want to show them a specific part, or you are talking about highlighting text for important information, you can highlight. You can also change the color and size of your highlighter. It's nice because you can still read the text underneath it. And of course, we all make mistakes, so there's an eraser option. You can change the size of the eraser. And there's a part where you can erase the layer you're working on, or you can erase the whole thing. If you put in a picture, it lets you erase the picture or part of the picture without deleting it. And then just one thing to note about writing is that the styluses don't work super well with the case that they have on our district iPads. So that's one con. I write with my finger. It works pretty well. If we're being completely honest, I did buy it personally, and I use my husband's iPad because he has an Apple Pencil, which is really nice. But I mean, I wrote with my finger for 2 years up till this point, and so it works pretty well. gets the point across. So there's different ways you can edit. The first one, I have a picture in here and I want to delete the entire picture. I don't want to just erase it. So I'm going to go in and right there's a little X button and I click it and then I click the other X and it gets rid of the whole thing. That way I can delete the whole thing at once. Okay. There's also a copy tool. So I click that and then I select a window around what I want to duplicate. Then I'm just taking the pointer and dragging it. Or I can do a little lasso so I can draw a non-square shape around what I want to copy. So if your thing doesn't fit into a square. So that's copying if I want to duplicate something. Okay. Then to edit recordings, I'm going to go down and record something real quick. Just a second. Okay, then I stop the recording and then in that editing panel, this button that I'm highlighting lets you split that recording. Okay, so if you just want to delete a certain part and not the entire thing, you want to delete a middle part, you can do that. I don't typically put too much effort into my videos. Okay, and then let's talk about how to arrange the order of your slides. So if I go to the bottom right, there's this 8 out of 9, that's your slides. So if I scroll through, I can see all the things I've done. If I click edit, I click the slide I want, and then I have to hold it, and then I can just drag them to where and drop it to where I want it to go. So if I just mixed up the order, you can drag and drop. I select the one I want to do again. That little button on the left duplicates it so I have 2 of the same slide. I click delete, it double checks, which is awesome. And then when you're done, you just click done. And then to go between slides, or can add a new slide with that plus button, it just adds a blank one for you. Then to go between slides, I have these 2 arrows. And then it either goes left forward or right forward, okay? So that is just a little bit about editing. Okay, so we're wrapping up our project. You've written everything, you've added your notes you want to add. So here's how to save and export. Okay, so same thing with saving. If I click that drop down box, I do quick save. Okay, and then you can just exit as normal. But if you want to share it and export it as a video, I click, it's the square with the arrow. Okay, and you can export it as a video, which is what I always do. I've never done the other ones. As a document, which will do a PDF, an image. Okay, so once I click export as a video, I can airdrop it from my iPad to my Mac, which is what I usually do. You can save it to your drive. You can save it to YouTube. I'll go back over that one in a second. I usually save it to my device as well. So if I scroll down, it just says save video, and that just saves it to my iPad, just in case. I'm always a little worried that I put all this work into it and then it's gonna go away. So I go back to the export button, export as video, and then you can do it, there it is. You can do it direct to YouTube. I don't recommend that. It usually takes a really long time, especially if you are at school. I usually just airdrop it to my computer, save it, and then upload from my computer to YouTube, and it goes a little faster because your computer can process better. I hope that was informative and helpful and sparked your interest in Explain Edu. I really like it. I think it's helpful all the time, especially now when we're making video lessons more and more. If you are interested in some more tools that I haven't gone over yet, I will go over them in the next video, but other than that, I hope this was a good introduction, and let me know if you have any questions, and I would be happy to try to answer them.